Right, I want to talk today very briefly about labels and character labels that we give to ourselves during our lifetime, during your day-to-day goings about as a business owner. And think about labels first of all in just general terms, packaging labels. They're very sticky. They can be quite hard to get off at times, and it can take a few goes and maybe a bit of water and a lot of scraping to get labels off packaging. Now, when you apply labels to yourself in terms of defining who you are or what you're good at or not good at, or the type of person you are, or anything you feel you need to shy away from or you're afraid of, once you're applying those labels to yourself and you do that for a prolonged length of time, it can be quite hard to unravel it, but it is possible. And what are labels that we can apply to ourselves on a day-to-day basis or on a prolonged length of time? So it's all down to the language that you're using. And there's two types of language to consider. You've got the inner language, so it's the self-talk, the thoughts you're having in your mind, and it's the verbal language, what you actually say out loud. One thing to bear in mind is that the verbal language, the words that you're actually speaking, can be 10 to 30 times more impactful than the thoughts you're having in your mind. Because the thoughts you're having in your mind can flit and can drift away, but over a prolonged length of time, they can sit with you and they will become sort of part of your subconscious and part of your operating system. But once you actually say words out loud, you're reinforcing these thoughts that you've had in your mind, and you're actually giving your brain another signal and something else that's coming in through your senses to shape who you are as a person. Doesn't mean that's who you actually are, but it does start to form a belief system. Once you form a belief system, that's where the label can be applied. That's where you believe, I'm not good at time management. I really struggle with understanding my numbers in my business. I don't like bookkeeping. I find it hard to get new customers and have initial meetings. I don't get on well with new staff members. I find it hard to build a relationship at the outset. Whatever the case may be as a business owner, yeah, these are all challenges that you do have to overcome. And only by practicing certain things on a regular basis or by reading certain books, watching certain material online, can you actually help to improve yourself. But as a first step to removing the label, be very wary of your internal chatter, so your sort of mind language, and also what you're saying. Because once you say it, it can be 10 to 30 times more impactful than what you're actually thinking, and it'll make those thoughts a bit more embedded. And that's how labels can get attached. But you can change the label. You can unwrap that label, and you can do that by, number one, changing the language you're using. So if I am not good at time management, maybe just add the word yet or right now, but to the end of that thought or the end of that sentence that you're saying. Or I need to improve at time management is something maybe could be shaped into at the moment I am juggling a lot of things and my time is scarce, but once I get through X, Y, and Z, I will have more time to play with, or I will upskill and get some books that will help me to prioritize and to focus on the things that I need to prioritize more. There's loads of things that you can do, but you just need to change the internal chatter, but especially the external chatter. That's even more important as a business owner when you're working in groups. Now that might be working with your customers, your clients, networking groups, your team. So be very wary of the language that you use and take time to think about what you're going to say before it comes out. Once a label has been applied for a number of years, it's quite often a habit, because it's part of your belief system, to just say things quite quickly. Whereas if you stop for a moment and think, what am I going to actually say here? Then that can change the language that you're about to say. It'll impact your mind in terms of what you're feeding back into your operating system, but it'll also impact everybody else you're around. So the language you use, the language you say, the internal chatter can be changed to start unraveling the label that you've applied to yourself. And I guarantee you will see different results over a period of time. Again, mind fitness is a bit like body fitness. You can't go to the gym for 4 days for a 3-week period and expect to be, in bodybuilder type shape. This is something you just have to do on an ongoing basis. It's a bit like getting up in the morning, getting out of your bed, walking downstairs, you get your breakfast. You just have to repeat these things and make them part of your daily habits. So be very wary of any labels you've applied to yourself. Identify what labels you may have applied. Think about the language you maybe have used and how that label has been applied through that language, be it internally or externally, and start working on those words and those languages, especially when you're in groups of people. So hopefully that's useful. Get it in action and see how you go.